if you provide a good service for your customers, they will talk about you, they will rave about you, they'll share who painted their home, who did a great job. As I talk to people who are starting out their business, figure out your niche. If you want to do a lot of smaller jobs, that's great. You can make a great living doing that.
Sure.
But then really fine tune that.
Right.
If you want to do just super high end, great. Fine tune your processes so that you can do that. And if you want to do something in between, just make sure you have the right people, you treat your people well, and that you have excellent customer service.
Hello, friends. I'm Adam Loveridge, and welcome to the Home Services Marketing Podcast, From Growth to Acquisition. I'm the owner and founder of Blue Forge Marketing. We are a home services marketing agency specializing in heating and air conditioning, plumbing, remodeling, and garage door contractors. For more information about Blue Forge Marketing, visit us online at blueforgemarketing.com. Hello and welcome to the Home Services Marketing Podcast, From Growth to Acquisition. My name is Adam Loveridge with Blue Forge Marketing. I'm really excited to be joined today by Olga Cruz from HQ Painting right here in Salt Lake City, Utah. Olga, thanks so much for joining me here on this podcast today.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure. You keep popping up in, the circles that we run in over here in Utah anyway, and I know that you've been around quite some time in the painting industry. And so I wanted to get you on the podcast here today to talk about your growth, some of the things that have made you successful. It seems like in the painting industry, there's kind of a wide berth of companies, but I feel like there's a lot of just one man's in a van, and obviously I know that you've grown to greater lengths than that. And so I'd love you just to take a few minutes, tell us about HQ Painting and how many crews you guys have out there and what you're kind of doing in the marketplace.
Of course. So we started in 2012. I married a painter. That's how I am in the painting industry. And my husband at the time was working for a company, and he was kind of like the right-hand person in this company. Came home and said he had a bad day at work and didn't like what was happening. And I've always wanted to be a business owner, so I said, well, why don't we just start our own company or start your own company? He was concerned about I don't know what it requires to start a painting company. My husband's from Mexico, and so he thought, my accent, my English isn't good enough. Lots of reasons why not to start a business. So the next day, or maybe a few days later, I did a search on the internet and, what does it take to start a business and a painting business in Utah? And so by the time he came home from work, I had registered the business, ordered business cards on Vistaprint, and talked to a friend who was going to do our website.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm not giving you any time to think about this, sir.
Right.
Here we go.
And so I said, it's here. I spent, maybe $100 on doing all that. And I said, here it is. If you want to do it, do it. And so he started working the business. And fast forward, 2025, we were able to reorganize after being with a franchise. Mm-hmm. And so here we are, HQ Painting. It stands for high quality painting. Our niche within the market is high-end custom work. Mm-hmm. We do commercial work as well, but our bread and butter is to work with a homeowner that values detail, doesn't want any drama, just wants the job done and have it be done right.
Okay, fantastic. So do you tend to work then primarily with, say, custom home builders, or are you working directly with homeowners that are looking to repaint a house, add an addition? Talk to me more about that.
All the above. Yeah, we work with GCs who are doing, general contractors who are doing additions on kind of higher end homes, remodels on higher end homes. We have worked with builders. We work directly with homeowners who are kind of GCing their own project. Mm-hmm. A little bit of everything.
That's absolutely wonderful. And talk to me a little bit about what the growth for the company has looked like then since 2012 when you were just kind of getting this thing started to today.
Yeah. So it's interesting that you asked that because I have our records, financial records going back to that. And we were kind of reflecting on that recently. And I think the first month we were in business, we maybe made like $500.
Right. to offset the $200 in business cards and everything else that you set up.
Right,
Yep.
yeah. So we were still at a positive at that point.
There you go. Profitable from day one.
Right. And so now our goal for this year is to be at 2.2 million.
Oh, congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. And how many crews are you having to run to hit 2.2 million?
Right now we have 8.
Okay.
We're selective about the team that we bring on board. We don't have a lot of turnover. We tend to have, once we get a painter on board and they're going to be good for us, we tend to keep them. So we have people that have worked with us for years, employees that have been with us for years. And so we're kind of selective. We're just picky. We want people that will work the way that we like our jobs done.
Yeah.
With a lot of attention to detail, as I said, and people there's not a lot of people that want to work that way. Not a lot of painters that want to work that way. There's painters that want to work really quickly, kind of in and out as quickly as possible.
Sure.
And there's a place for that in the marketplace for sure. Mm-hmm. That's just not our customer. That's not the way our customer wants us to work.
Gotcha. Well, I think it's really interesting that you have your ICP, right, or your ideal client profile really figured out, and it sounds like what you're saying is that you really hire then to really meet the needs of who those ideal clients are.
Yes.
And and I think I hadn't really kind of planned on going this way, but since we're talking about hiring and personnel and different things, I know that's something that's really challenging in the home services space. How do you go about really finding, but maybe more importantly, ensuring that the people that you're bringing on and putting on these crews that are going into these high-end homes are going to meet those level of standards and really buy into that company culture of excellence?
Yeah. So first of all, we train them. We train them to make sure most people that come to us, painters that come to us, have already painted before, or maybe they've worked on prep crews, or they've done a little bit of painting on their own. Mm-hmm. We prefer to have somebody that doesn't have a lot of experience.
Okay.
Because then we can train them to work the way we want to work.
You'd rather help them develop good habits than try to unlearn bad habits.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So we try to bring on people that we can train and that can learn the way we want them to work. We have them shadow one of our lead painters, so they're kind of integrated into a group. Mm-hmm. We know pretty quickly whether or not they're going to work out. If they're complaining about the level of detail, that's not ideally our employee.
Sure.
Somebody that we want to. But if it's somebody that's hungry, that wants to learn, that likes painting,
mm-hmm.
It's hard work.
Yeah,
it's really hard work. A lot of it is really detailed prep work to get it done right. Mm-hmm. And once you get the prep work done, then the fun part starts, right? The painting starts. And so we have people that we start out just as prep. Mm-hmm. Like all you're going to do is just cover floors 5 days a week. You're going to cover floors and uncover them. That's what you do. And then we have painter helpers, mm-hmm. and then you have the actual painter.
Okay.
And we try to promote from within, get people from, starting out as a prep person and get them to painter. And we tell them that's where you're going to make money.
Gotcha. How long of a process is it to take somebody from that early stage to where you feel they're competent enough now to put onto these painting projects?
A lot of it is their desire.
Mm-hmm.
There are some folks that say, I'm totally comfortable being a prep person, or I'm totally comfortable being the gopher, the guy that goes back to the truck to get this or that, at the helper. And then there's people that come in and they're determined, I want to be a painter. I want to learn how to spray. I want to learn how to do my own jobs, or I want to be a lead painter.
Sure.
So it could be, 6 months to a year before they're ready to go.
Gotcha. And once you've got that good painter there, that helper, whatever else, what are some of the ways that you go about making sure that those people stick around for the long term? Then you said that you've got, pretty good tenure there. What is your secret to that whole alchemy, I guess?
Treat them with respect.
Mm-hmm.
Treat them with respect. Advocate for them. The customer sometimes is not right, and it's our job to smooth things over, but also keep the painter happy. And then, we never mess with their money. Yeah, we pay them first before we get paid.
Sound advice. If you want to keep people, treat them well and pay them, right?
Yes. Exactly.
Otherwise, why are we doing all of this?
Exactly.
Well, I love that. Thanks for sharing that, actually, and because I know that in home services, whether it's HVAC or plumbing or whatever else, we work with a lot of heating and air conditioning and plumbing companies, and it's hard to get good technicians, good painters, good people. And I have found that this common trend has been really people are like, we would rather take somebody who doesn't know what they're doing and literally train them to do it our way.
Right.
And it sounds like that's kind of where you've wound up as well. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. So let's shift gears then a little bit and let's talk about marketing, because you are obviously working with, high-end GCs, high-end homeowners, that sort of thing. And I think especially for a lot of the remodelers that follow this podcast, people who want to kind of work more in that high end, cracking that high end nut, if you will, can be a little bit of a challenge in terms of marketing. What are some of the methods that you're using to get out in front of more high end homeowners and these, high quality type painting opportunities?
Right. So I have a list of people that sometimes I'm driving by in a nice neighborhood and I see that there's a construction company remodeling or building a home. Mm-hmm. I put them in my list. I reach out to them, and sometimes I deliver donuts or I call and set up an appointment. I also do a lot of networking. A lot of our work comes from networking. And just word of mouth that we do a good job, that we are, on time, on budget.
So it's predominantly then referrals, it sounds like, is really the whole of your business then.
Yeah.
Are you doing any type of internet marketing like SEO or ads or any of those sorts of things?
No ads.
Okay.
We are doing SEO. I have a personal Facebook that I have, over 3,000 people following me. Mm-hmm. So I do post daily.
Okay.
And I do post a little bit on our business page, but a lot of it is just me. It's promoting my sort of like me as the brand, me as the face of the company.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Now, is your husband still involved, and does he have any part of also being the spokesperson, or is that predominantly you?
I'm predominantly the spokesperson. Yeah, he likes dealing with the painters. He likes dealing with the customers. I also do sales, but yeah, he's. I don't know if you would call it behind the scenes, but he's working, interfacing directly with the painters and the customers.
Sure.
On the job site.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. And when you look at kind of like networking versus, I realize it sounds like all of it is really networking at the end of the day, right? How do we build referral sources and that sort of thing? But if I'm talking about the difference between, say, a general contractor or your average B&I group, and obviously, I know you've got Desi in our B&I group, and I'm sure you're probably in other chapters elsewhere as well. What do you find is a more regular source of business for you? Do you tend to get more people from the networking side of it, or more from the GCs, or is it kind of somewhere in the middle?
Somewhere in the middle. Sometimes the B&I referrals can lead to kind of the bigger jobs. Mm-hmm. You can get connected with GCs or builders or even realtors that are finding homes for people moving to the state that are kind of more on the higher end side. You can find all of that somewhere.
Yeah.
Somewhere in between, all of your networking. It's all valuable.
Gotcha. And when you're talking about SEO as an example, what percentage of your lead volume would you say is coming in from digital channels?
It's a small percentage right now. I would say it's probably about 15 to 20%.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Gotcha. And as you look at kind of where you are now to, hitting that $2.2 million mark and maybe even beyond, how do you see what you're doing from a marketing perspective, changing and progressing, or do you?
Yeah, definitely. We're always looking at, we can't stay the same and make more money, right? Bring in more money.
Right.
We can't have one production manager if you're going to have 15, 16 crews. You can't have one estimating person or two estimating people if you're going to get to that number.
Gotcha.
So we definitely have on the horizon that we're going to need to change our strategy and the people on the team as well.
Sure. Well, and you just talked about production managers and estimators and all of that, and I'm less familiar with how that kind of works in your business. So for help me to understand, how many estimators or like what type of volume an estimator can typically generate. Are they generating their own referrals and networks? Really referrals and going out and networking and different things along those lines. Like, help me kind of understand the structures so that if a painting contractor from Arkansas, as an example, were listening to this, how they could really structure their people to kind of follow the same strategy that you're following and what some of those numbers look like.
Yeah, in our industry, usually the company gets the leads, finds the leads, whether they be paid through business development or whatever the case might be.
Gotcha.
And the estimator estimates it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And roughly how many jobs on average or how much volume can a single estimator do in a year?
Depends.
Yeah.
Depends on what kind of leads are coming in.
Okay.
We have a good mix of obviously the really big jobs, the entire home. Mm-hmm. And then we have others where it's a master suite that's been remodeled, or it's the basement that's been remodeled, or it's just the exterior of the house. So not everything is,
right.
big jobs,
sure,
if you will.
Sure. Absolutely. Well, and I guess maybe in terms of ticket sizes, what does a typical big job look like versus, say, a master suite?
A master suite can cost you $15,000 to $25,000, depending on what you're doing in there. A home can be, $45,000, $55,000 if it's an entire home.
Gotcha.
It just depends on what we're doing. For painting cabinets, we also paint cabinets.
Okay.
So it just depends on how big of a kitchen, the type of work that they want, the type of finishes that they want.
Sure.
That sort of thing.
Do you find that cabinets and refinishing and that sort of thing is a particularly large part of the business, or is it? What would you say, percentage wise that is?
Probably I would say about maybe 110, 120 cabinets a year.
Okay.
I think more recently it's been more popular to do cabinets, as people are kind of thinking like, how do I, instead of reinvest in something new, like
Sure.
how do I make do with what I have? Yeah, I think you're seeing more of that.
Yeah.
More of that, more refinishing.
Well, it makes a lot of sense. I think. I mean, I'm sure it's quite a bit less expensive than going out and buying all new cabinetry.
Yeah, cabinets are expensive.
They are indeed. I remodeled my house a few years back, and I ended up actually painting my cabinets. Because I wanted to kind of really go with the countertops that I had selected and things, and I just thought it was a nice, sleek kind of look, and don't really care for the different wood grains that are often common, and so I totally understand that. What about when it comes to the marketing aspect of it? Do you have any repeatability in your business? Obviously, if you're working with a GC, right, like they could keep referring you jobs as you go, but when you're working directly with a homeowner, let's just say, do you guys do anything to keep top of mind with those people over time for their next painting project?
Yeah, we've done newsletters that talk about not necessarily trying to sell them, like,
Sure.
or we're not trying to sell them on another project, but we're trying to keep our name sort of top of mind. So we talk about trends, like here's the new Sherwin-Williams color of the year, and this is how we're seeing it used on cabinets, indoors, outdoors. We talk about not just color trends, but also like material trends.
Sure.
And then we also provide tips on, it's spring is here, so what should you do to get your home sort of ready for spring after a long winter or, a very wet winter. So we talk about those kinds of things, try to keep it very light, and just have it be very beautiful looking, kind of a one page, very beautiful looking, but offer some value.
Sure. And how often do those newsletters go out?
We've done them monthly. We used to do them twice a month.
Did you find that twice a month was just a little much?
It was a little much. Yeah, it was a little much. But once a month, once every other month, it's good. It's just, you just want to keep, top of mind.
Sure.
They may not have another project in their home, but they might have an office suite or a neighbor or a family member who needs their home painted or their office suite painted or their rental painted.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you work quite a bit with property managers?
Not really.
Not really?
No, not really. We do a little bit. We've done a little bit, but I think usually they're not willing to invest.
They're looking for cheap.
Yes,
Yeah.
And maybe with higher end homes, we've done a little bit of that, but we don't work a lot with property managers.
Okay, gotcha. Any other ways that you're getting your message out into the marketplace from a, I guess, marketing perspective?
We have done, I think, a really good job with our branding on our vehicles. I don't have that many vehicles, but people tell me all the time, I saw one of your cars, or they refer to the fleet, and I really
Right.
don't have a fleet. It's really memorable.
Sure.
It's really memorable. And so I think that's one thing. We're always talking about our brand, whether it be on social media, on our website, any presentation that I do or podcast that I sit on, I talk about our brand. I talk about our story. I talk about what makes us different. And it's not just necessarily that we're a painter that focuses on high end. It's that this is really what we love to do.
Yeah.
This is our family business. It's our legacy. It's just truly something that we love, watching a homeowner come into the home once we've painted it and just sort of reimagine what their life would be like.
Yeah.
What it could be like. And we love hearing their stories too. Sometimes it's a divorce, or it's this is the home of their dreams that they're moving into. It's the second home of their dreams that they're moving into, and we just love hearing and being part of that story.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're really helping people to create a whole new space, really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A new space, a new beginning. Yeah, we used to say, our tagline used to be, we help homeowners fall in love with their homes again.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's what it was. It's like it's your existing home. Maybe you're an empty nester and you're kind of rethinking how the spaces are used in your home.
Sure.
And so you're learning we're going to help you fall in love with it again.
I absolutely love that. Honestly, that's great.
Yeah.
I think that what I kind of hear you saying, let's back up here just a little bit. First of all, when you're talking about your brand, did you set out intentionally, with an idea in mind of this is what we want this brand to be? Was it something that you consulted with somebody on to help kind of develop your brand and your truck wraps and things along those lines? Tell me about how you came about, really understanding what your brand is, what you want it to look like in the marketplace, and how you've kept that a steady effort.
Yes. So when I say we, my husband and I spent a lot of time talking about okay, what's this new thing going to be? What is it going to be? What are we going to be and not be?
Sure.
Right? Who's going to be our ideal customer? What kind of work do we not want to do? And so we kind of teased that out a little bit. And then for the actual brand, if you will, like the colors and things like that, we met with an agency, and we gave them we just dumped for 2 hours. This is who we are. This is our history. This is who we want to be. This is our ideal customer. This is our process.
Yeah.
So the marketing agency became pretty well versed in what's our prep process like? How is that different from other people? Why do we have less turnover than other companies? Well, because this is the way that we treat our painters.
Yeah.
And so we kind of went through the whole thing. We did a brain dump with them over a couple hours, and then they were able to come up with the logo, the colors. And from there, the branding on the trucks, I had a very, I don't know if I have a business card here, but I'll share that with you. I don't even know how to describe it. I just had an idea of how do we know that something is prepped correctly?
Sure.
It's because the lines are going to be so crystal clear.
Let's see this. Oh, wow.
That line is going to be so crystal clear that when you peel the tape off, you're just going to have a very crisp line. There's not going to be any bleeding from one end from one color to the next.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of like that horizontal stripe. And the white was sort of that's the wall color, and then the darker color could be the baseboard color. And that's sort of what I had in mind.
Yeah.
And that has become what our vehicles look like. Our vehicles have that same vertical or horizontal line, rather. The colors are all the same. I had someone do T-shirts for us, and I said, "These are the colors. Can you make sure that you stick with these colors?
Right.
Because these are our company colors." They brought our T-shirts, and it's like, that's not the color. Look, the color's very different. And so we've been really picky about making sure that our brand is really clear.
Yeah.
Really, really clear.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Blue Forge marketing really only came about last year. And for the longest time, we were called Job Calls, and we had kind of a mediocre brand, if I'm being real about it. And, and it came out of, we used to be in the pay per call lead generation business. And so and we were working with a lot of plumbing, HVAC, and electricians at the time. And they all mostly got it, right? Like, we're looking for jobs, calls for jobs. Okay, especially the electricians, because there's a lot of unions out there where they go actually hop onto the job call boards and whatever. But over the years, it got so kind of muddy, and so we decided to go through a rebrand process because it wasn't working anymore. It didn't make a lot of sense. But to your point about really kind of enforcing that brand, when we first went out after getting our brand guide put together and really re-envisioning what our core values were and all of that, I sent it off to the swag person. It came back and the colors were just wrong, and I was like, that is not my brand. I just spent quite a bit of money,
right,
and a whole lot of time and emotional investment and everything into this. And if that color is just a little bit off, or it's not, what it is, you've got to send it back, right? You have to make sure that you're getting that, because it's more than just about what the colors of your logo are. It's really about what you want that business to be to, first of all, you, I think, but then second of all, to all of your customers and in the market and how you want to be out there. And
your employees too.
Absolutely. And so if you're not going to be the one, making sure that, hey, like, these are our values, this is how we show up on every single painting job that we do, and if you don't define that culture and define that brand up front, your employees will do it for you.
Right. You don't want that.
Your customers will do it for you.
Right. You don't want it to be led by the employees. You want it to be led by the leadership.
Yeah.
And then sort of implemented by all these other things, the trucks and the yard signs and the T-shirts and the polos or whatever you might have.
Well, and what I love about what you've done here is you're really, I was in real estate before marketing, and this was back in the whole meltdown of the mid 2000s, right? And and the thing that I kind of learned at the time was just that it's you've really got to get out there and get known in whatever way you can. And you're still doing a lot of what I would call the guerrilla marketing tactics.
Yes.
That were so prevalent back then with the yard signs and it makes sense, right? It really, really does. And obviously, Blue Forge is in the digital marketing space. And so, when things started kind of going online in the mid 2000s and whatever else, we kind of made that shift and obviously saw a lot of pickup from online. But for the longest time, it was very much kind of like where you're at now, where mostly getting referrals, mostly still, the word of mouth, if you will, and all the goodwill that we're putting in the marketplace is what's really moving the needle. And what I love about where you're at right now is that you're basically showing, like, listen, you can clear $2 million just going out and networking, and getting referrals. And I like to hear that you're now looking at more, additional marketing channels that you can get out there from and really, grow and expand. And I think that brings me to kind of my next question, which is, okay, so we want to hit 2.2 million this year. If you fast forwarded 5 years, 10 years, what do you see down the line for HQ Painting?
7 million?
Yeah.
7 million?
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the significance of that for you?
Wow. So our dream is to eventually live part-time in Mexico.
Okay.
We have a property. We have a city in mind. And
that you're just going to buy?
The city or the property?
Teasing.
I guess with 7 million, we can just build our own, right?
Get a private island somewhere,
Yeah. No, our dream is to give back.
Yeah.
Our dream is to give back, to build a home where we can obviously, spend winters and that sort of thing there, but also to look for ways that we can give back. I have a soft spot for children. We don't have children of our own, but my heart breaks when we do visit and I see children that, that just need things. They don't have a park. They don't have a decent park. There's a basketball court, but there's no nets. Just things like that. And that just breaks my heart. And so I'd love to give back. Once I get there, I guess I'll have to reinvent Olga. Like, what am I going to do? Maybe I'll do some coaching. Maybe I'll help women.
Yeah.
I also have a soft spot for women business owners to maybe start their own business.
Me too, by the way.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a shared passion.
Yes.
I've helped mentor quite a few female entrepreneurs into what they're doing. So
right. So I need to figure out what that next chapter is going to be for me, like personally. What is my daily life going to be looking like? But yeah, I look for opportunities that I can give back. Where we're always willing to help.
Sure.
We're always willing to help, and yeah, that's sort of what we see in the future, in the near future.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that
Sure.
with me. I mean, you probably were not expecting that. Well, and along those lines, I mean, this is the growth to acquisition show, and we talk quite a bit about exit strategies, private equity. I mean, where do you see yourselves going in terms of it sounds like you're looking at maybe an eventual exit, but maybe you'll hold it, and you'd like to give back. Talk to me a little bit about how you see HQ painting moving on into the next stages of its evolution when you're ready to make that leap.
Yeah, I could see us selling it to someone. This is our baby, so you always have to think about, like, can you give it up? You know?
Right.
I would hate to run it to the ground because I couldn't give it up. So I would want to make sure that it was flourishing and then eventually sell it to someone. I would love for it to be an employee. Would love to do that. Or even a family member. That would be wonderful.
Do you have family members that work with you now that might be interested in taking on the business? We
do have family members that work with us currently. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So there is an exit in store.
Yes.
I'm guessing though, and correct me if I'm wrong here, and what I'm gathering from you as I've listened to you talk about what you're passionate about is really people, right? Whether it's the customers that you're serving and the way that they light up when they get to finally re-envision a new space, or your employees that you have very long tenure with because you train them right, you treat them well, and you make them really part of your family and your business is kind of what I'm getting.
Yeah.
And then all the way to what I really want to do, when I finally do exit this whole thing is really just help people in a grander way and have more financial means to do so. And so I guess where I'm trying to go with all of this is that one of the things that we do run into quite a bit out there is private equity. And I've seen where private equity can come in and just completely kill the culture of an organization. We've seen some examples as we've interviewed different people, private equity companies that seem to want to try to keep the same people in place. What's your feel about that? And what would be important for you if you were going to look at a private equity exit?
Yeah. I was on a panel earlier this week, and it was about transitions and exits, and there was 2 people that had sold to. I was there just talking about our transition, and it's interesting. I heard both. I've heard both, like the private equity respected our culture and gets it and sees how we treat employees and how it's important to keep resources going for the employees. And then I also heard, the kind of like the other thing that was like maybe not so much or not as much.
Right.
So I think, I don't know if I would go with something like private equity. I don't know. I think I need to learn more about it to have a definitive, yay or nay.
Sure.
Certainly the financial rewards are there. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, and I guess you don't really have to,
today.
right now either. It sounds like there's still some time between then and what your eventual dream is. But I love hearing about your goals and where you're going, and I think maybe even more importantly, just the compassion that you have and passion you have around your business and the people that you serve both internally and with your clients. So I think that's a really wonderful thing.
Yeah, thank you.
You're very welcome. Well, Olga, if you were talking with a new painting company that were just kind of getting up and off the grounds, what advice would you give them in terms of just, if you could distill down a few things that you've learned over the years to help shortcut somebody's success, what would that look like?
Excellent customer service. Excellent customer service. If you provide a good service for your customers, they will talk about you, they will rave about you, they'll share who painted their home, who did a great job. So customer service is really important, and keeping your word. Keeping your word is really important. As I talk to people who are starting out their business, figure out your niche. If you want to do a lot of smaller jobs, that's great. You can make a great living doing that.
Sure.
But then really fine tune that.
Right.
If you want to do just super high end, great. Fine tune your processes so that you can do that. And if you want to do something in between, just make sure you have the right people, you treat your people well, and that you have excellent customer service.
I think those are absolutely words to live by, and I couldn't agree with you more. Especially too, I think about the niching part and really just understanding who our customer is and why. We've always worked just with home service contractors.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and a very, very tight selection of them, because I feel like the more we understand about their business,
Exactly.
the better we're able to really serve them, and and we keep clients for a long time that way. And so I agree with you. Those are all really fine points. Well, wrapping up then, if somebody were in the Utah area and wanted to find out more about your business, or maybe get a bid, something along those lines, how would they go about finding you?
Yeah, we'd love to help them. They can go to our website at hqpaintingutah.com. They can give us a call at 435-772-9426, or they can find me on Facebook. I'm just under my name, Olga de la Cruz.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Olga. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show here.
Thank you.
This afternoon. It's been, like I said, just my pleasure. And again, folks, my name is Adam Loveridge with Blue Forge Marketing, joined here today by Olga de la Cruz with HQ Painting, and just right here in my backyard of Salt Lake City. Again, thank you so much, Olga. It's been fantastic having you on the show.
Thank you.